The first chapter we have with us is resources and development. Let us understand the meaning of the topic. Resources and development. What is resource? Anything which is having a value, which is having a usability is a resource to us. Then what is development? The development means the processing of it into a better format. For example, you have trees around you, but when that tree is converted as a furniture, its value increases. Similarly, we have a lot of resources present in our earth, and the development of these resources will fulfill our needs in a better way and in a processed way. So, let us go for the definition of resources. The very first line in our book is the best definition for resource. That is, it should be anything which is available in the environment which can satisfy our needs, but it should be technologically accessible. Means what? It should be whatever technology known to us, with that technology we should be able to access to it. Next, it should be economically feasible. That means it should have an economic value. Then culturally acceptable. As per our culture, we should be able to accept it. Then only that thing will be a resource. So here I want to say you one thing. Anything which is a resource to me may not be a resource to you, because anything which goes through these 3 points, if I have that, then only it will be a resource to you. But it may not be a resource to you because it is not culturally acceptable in your culture. So we can understand this better in the this chapter. So here you all see we have a triangle. So the portion is the process of transformation. These things are available in our environment. It involves an interdependent relationship between the nature, technology and institution. If you want to convert these natural resources into better products for your utilization, then you have to go through this process. Here you see the physical environment, and down it is the technology and institution. So the human beings are the one who utilizes the physical environment by the technology known to them through making different institutions. Okay, so the conversion of these natural resources into more valuable product is also necessary for our own development. We can develop only if these natural resources are developed. So that is why it is rightly said here, you can see the resources are a function of human activities. What is the meaning of this? You can take a note of this. This kind of question usually comes in the exam. Resources are a function of human activities. Support the statement. Yes, it is very true to say the resources are a function of human activity. The resources cannot function by themselves. The resources can function with human contribution to it. So here the resources can be converted into more usable product. The resources can get more value if the human beings try to utilize them. And human beings also cannot show their talent if resources are not there. As the resources are available, that is why human being is able to show its talent by converting these natural resources into different forms. That is why the human beings themselves are very essential component of the resources. That is, there is see, when I say resource, here 2 words are coming. Resource is equal to thing plus value. Everything is a thing if it do not have any value. The pen is a thing if there is no ink in that pen. Okay, the water bottle with which you are drinking, if that breaks down or that broke, if the water bottle breaks and you are not able to store water in it, then it is no more a resource to you. Waste management part is different. So everything, if it have anything or everything, if it have a usability, if it have a value, then only it will be a resource. So resource equal to things plus value. So here it is written, resources have the most important component of resources is human. That is, if the things are having value, then who will utilize them? Can they be utilized by their own? They cannot. So it is the human being which can utilize them properly. Okay, so the human beings transform the materials available in our environment into more useful product, and they use it by themselves. So they have, these resources are divided into different, on the basis of different categories, they are divided into different names, different parts. So we will just go for the classification of it. Next, here you can see there is a flow chart given here, and here the resources are also divided into different categories. So let us understand this flow chart. The resources are first divided into two parts, that is natural and human. The natural is of two types, renewable and non-renewable. Anything and everything available in the nature is called as the natural resources, and it is of two types, renewable and non-renewable. Renewable, re means again, new-able. I am dividing this term into three parts, renewable. Okay, so re means again, new means new, able. If anything is having a ability to be new again, then that will be called as the renewable. And if anything do not have the ability to be renewed again, then that is a non-renewable resource. So renewable resources are of two types, continuous or flow. That is the wind, the water, they are continuous in nature, they do not stop at one place. So they are continuous in nature. And the other one is biological. Biological includes the flora and the fauna, that is the natural vegetation and the animal. Dear students, see, the natural vegetation and animal, if they die, another set of them is going to come. The plants in the forest, no one goes and plant the trees, but still we have the forest there. Once the trees fall, the old one they fall, the new one they grow. Similarly, the animals also, when the old one dies, the new one is already there. So these plants and animals, the living organisms, they are coming under the biological renewable natural resources. The next one is your non-renewable. The non-renewable is having recyclable metals, and the other one is non-recyclable. Dear students, the recyclable metals are also non-renewable. For example, the plastic, the iron, the paper, they can be recycled, but the quality will not be the same, and they will take a lot of time also. For example, the papers we have already used, the copies used by you have already used them. When you sell them, they are going to the paper factories, and they are converted as paper pulp, and from them the cardboards and all are prepared. But the color of the recycled one will not be as bright as your copy was. Okay, so this particular process, that is the used copy converted as a cardboard, it takes a lot of time. So that is why they are also coming under the non-renewable part. Next one, the non-recyclable. There are some resources which cannot be recycled even. This paper, iron, metals, they can be recycled. At least they can be recycled. They will take some time, but they will be recycled. But there are some resources which cannot be recycled at all. Who are they? They are the fossil fuels. That is the natural gas, the petrol, then the coal. These fossil fuels, once they are over, means they are completely over. Why? Because the fossil fuels take a lot of time for their formation. That is why they are completely coming under the non-renewable category of the resource. Next one, that is the human resource. Human resource is of two types. The first one is structures and institutions. The buildings are the structures, the roads, the parks, all the man-made resources are coming under the structures and institutions. What about the quantity and quality? Quantity and quality is how many number of them are present, and what is the quality of it. That is the quantity and quality part of the human. So this is the flow chart which is over. Let us go to the next part where we will learn the types of resource we have. In your exam, you will get question from these parts, and also you may have to write the example of it. Like you might get a question, give two examples of abiotic resource, or features will be given, then you have to identify what type of resource it is. So the first one in the list is on the basis of origin. Yes, on the basis of origin, from where they are originating. On the basis of origin, the resources are divided into biotic and abiotic. Bio means life. So biotic resources are the resources which have a life, which are the living organisms. They are coming under the biotic. So these are obtained from the biosphere. Dear friends, you must be remembering what is the biosphere. Biosphere is the sphere which is there in between lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. Where these three spheres they meet, the middle one is the biosphere, because life can be possible when these three realms are together. So it is having the examples such as human beings, flora, fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. are coming as an example of the biotic resource. Next one is abiotic. Abiotic, that means the non-living ones. So the non-living ones which are present in our surroundings are coming under this category. For example, the rocks, the metals, all these, the land, all these are the non-living resources for us. Next one, on the basis of exhaustibility, let us divide the term. Dear friends, again I will tell here one thing. Suppose you do not understand our term, then do one thing. Divide the term into different parts. Here, exhaustibility, the word ability is there, exhaust and ability. So on the basis of their ability to get exhaust, you have an exhaust fan in your house. Why? Because the gas from the house or the kitchen will go out. For that we have kept the exhaust fan there. So here exhaustibility means what? The ability to get exhausted, completely to get to an end, that is exhaustibility. So on the basis of exhaustibility we have two type of resource. One is renewable resource, the other one is non-renewable resource. Renewable resources are the resources which can be renewed again and again, or which can be reproduced again and again. Just in the classification of resource I had told you that. So these resources which can be replenished again, which can be created again, are coming under this category. For example, the forest, for example, the wildlife, for example, the wind energy, the wind that is flowing around. You trap the wind energy, again it will be formed. These are the natural resources. So these are the renewable resource which can be renewed again and again. And this renewable resource is also further divided into continuous or flow. Okay, that we have just now discussed in the previous page. Next, the other one of exhaustibility is non-renewable. The resources which can be exhausted, they have an ability to get exhausted. They don't have an ability to renew themselves. They don't have an ability to recycle themselves, are coming under the non-renewable resources. Okay, so here we will include the fossil fuels which cannot be renewed. Actually, the fossil fuels take a lot of time, millions of years for their formation. So once they come to an end, it is not at all possible on our part to utilize them, to get them again. Next one, on the basis of ownership, the resources are also owned by someone. So on the basis of their ownership, who own them, we have divided them into four categories. The very first one in the list is the individual resource. These resources are privately owned by the individuals. Many farmers own land which is allotted to them by the government against the payment of the revenue. We pay tax to the government for the land we are staying, for the water we are using. Okay, so whatever land is belonging to you in your village, you must have some land. That land is your own, that is your individual property. No one can claim on it. Okay, your pen, your book, your own name, that is your individual property. Whatever is belonging to you, that is your individual property. So here in urban people, they own the plots, houses, some other properties, flats they have. that is their individual property. No one can get access to that. Next one, we have the next list, that is a community owned resource. Dear friends, you are staying in a society. If you are staying in the apartment, in your apartment there must be a playing slot, there must be a small temple inside the society. So all those are the community owned resource. Maybe that temple is made by a person, but that temple belongs to everyone in that society. We have community halls, we have parks, we have temples, we have parking slots. All these places are not the individual property. They belong to everyone. They belong to a community. They belong to a group of people. So there are resources which are accessible to all the members of the community, village, commons, in common. Whatever in common is available to the people is called as the community resource. In the village, the grazing ground where the animals they go to graze, the cows, the cattle they go to graze, the burial grounds, the village pond, these are not owned by individuals. These are owned by everyone in that village. Everyone in the village can utilize them. The next one, in the urban places, the picnic spots, the playground, the park, the malls, all these, the malls are made by individuals. But can they say that it is my individual property? They cannot say, because people will go there, they will purchase the things, the transaction will go there. So all these are the common properties, something which is owned by the community, not by an individual. The third one in the list is a national resource. You see, technically anything inside our domestic territory belongs to our country. Means our individual property also belongs to the country. Okay, for that only we are paying tax to the government. So here, anything which is available inside the nation is coming under the national resource. The country has the legal power to acquire even the private property for public good. In villages you must have heard, like the government road will be laid down here. For that government is purchasing land from the village peoples. If we sell, we will get a lot of money. This kind of things you must have heard. So government have the right to purchase the private land from the individuals for the sake of national good. Anything which is for betterment for the nation, for that government can do that. But still, for example, in your private land, you have 100 acres of land in one place. When you decided to do something on that land, that I decided on that land I will go for a farm. So I have started digging that area. Then I found in that area, after digging some part inside the land, I found in that area we have got some amount of minerals. Iron stones we are getting after digging that land. The 100 acres of land that I have, it is my individual property. But when I started digging that area, I found iron in that. Can I say that that iron belongs to me because it is found in my area? No, I cannot. That iron which I found belongs to the whole nation. There the nation has to come and interrupt. Okay. So the urban development authorities get empowered by the government to acquire the land, any land which the government needs to take on it. All the minerals, the water resources, the forest, wildlife, land within the political boundary is coming under the national resource of the country. Dear students, not only inside the land but outside the land also the nation have its property. What is that? The countries, that is our country, which is sharing a big coastline. From the coastline up to 22.2 kilometer, which is 12 nautical miles inside the sea, whatever we get, that belongs to our country. From the shoreline to 22.2 kilometer inside, whatever we find, that belongs to our country. Okay. So here what we got to know, everything inside the territory of the country plus 12 nautical miles from the sea, from the coastline, we have the resource in our country, that is a national resource. Next one is international resource. What is international resource? Apart from that 12 nautical miles, whatever else is present in the ocean, that belongs to the international, that belongs to every country. There are many countries which do not have a coastline, which are landlocked, which don't have a sea boundary. Then they cannot access to the sea, they cannot get the minerals from the sea, they cannot get anything from the sea. No, it cannot be possible. So there are international institutions which regulate some resources. The oceanic resources beyond 200 nautical miles of the exclusive economic zone belong to the open ocean. This exclusive economic zone is your 22.2 kilometer. After that, whatever 200 nautical miles, whatever we have, the oceanic resources beyond the 200 nautical miles of exclusive economic zone. Exclusive economic zone से 200 nautical mile दूर whatever oceanic resources you have, that is belonging to every country. Okay, no individual country can utilize this without the concurrence of the international institution. Now you might get a question in your mind. If any resource which is present some part inside the national boundary, some part inside the international boundary, then who will take that? It will be taken by some portion of it will be taken, whatever percentage of it is there inside the country's boundary, that much or some percentage as per the decision of the international institution will be taken by that country, and the remaining can be taken by other countries. Okay, dear students, you must not forget to read this do you knows, because you might get objective type question from this do you know. So now the last category we have, that is on the basis of the status of development. Yes, on the basis of the status of development, the resources are categorized into 4 categories, 4 parts, 4 types. The first one is potential, then developed, then stock, and then reserve. I will go with the developed resource first. Developed resources are also called as the actual resource. That means how much resource you have already started utilizing, how much resource you are already utilized or you are utilizing, you know their quantity, their quality, already they are in use with you, are called as the actual resource. That means how much percentage you have already scored, that is the actual resource. But how much you will score, for example you have got 85, but I believe you have a potentiality, you have a ability, you have a capability that you may score 95% too. So how much you have scored, how much you have already done, that is actual. How much you may do with the capability of yours is coming under the potential resource. So similarly here, the developed resources are the resources which are already in use by us, whose quantity and quality is also known to us, and with the technology known to us, we are already utilizing them. They are the developed or the actual resource. Next, the potential resource. The resources which are found in a region but have not been utilized. We know this resource is found here. For example, at this part of India, we have a huge coal deposits, but we have not started utilizing them. Why we have not started utilizing them? Because now we don't need them. Already we have other mining going on, other mines are still in process. So although we got to know the resources there, but we are not using that coal mine now. But whatever technology we have with us, with that technology we can utilize it again and again, but not now. We will use it afterwards. मतलब मुझे पता है वहाँ पे कोल डिपॉजिट्स है, पर मुझे अभी ज़रूरत नहीं है तो मैं वो कोल डिपॉजिट यूज़ नहीं कर रही हूँ. बट जो भी टेक्नोलॉजी मेरे पास है, विथ दैट टेक्नोलॉजी आई कैन यूटिलाइज दैट कोल डिपॉजिट इन द नियर फ्यूचर व्हेन आई विल नीड इट. So that is called as the potential resource. For example, the western part of India, particularly Rajasthan and Gujarat, have enormous potential for the development of wind and solar energy, but we are not using them. India can go for the solar and wind energy sales at Gujarat and Rajasthan, and we don't need any kind of hydroelectricity also, thermal electricity also, because we have enough of these natural resources, but we are not doing it. But we may do it. We have the technology also, so we may do it in the near future. They will come under the potential resource. Again I am telling, potential resources are those resources which use has not started, but we can access them with the technology known to them, and in the near future we may start using them. The third one, that is stock. Stock is the subset of the potential resource. Stock and reserve both. Stock is what? Stock is the resources which are available there. They can satisfy the human need. They have the potentiality to fulfill the need of humans, but we the human beings do not have the appropriate technology how to utilize them. Okay, then they will be coming under the stock. मतलब आपके सामने है, वो आपको सर्व करना चाहते हैं, पर आप उन्हें यूज़ नहीं कर सकते हो क्योंकि आपके पास टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है. उसे कैसे यूटिलाइज करोगे? मीन्स आपके सामने कुछ है पर आप उसको छू नहीं सकते. आप छूना चाहते हो पर आप उसको छू नहीं सकते. दैट इज़ द स्टॉक. सो हियर वी कैन टेक एन एग्जाम्पल ऑफ वाटर इज अ कंपाउंड ऑफ टू इनफ्लेमेबल गैस H2O. We say H2O, that means 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 of oxygen is there. That means oxygen is there inside the water. But can we take them out? We don't have the required technical know-how to use them for this purpose. Hence, it can be considered as stock. Next, reserve. Reserve is again the subset of the stock. मतलब stock का छोटा वाला डिवीज़न है आपका क्या? रिजर्व. रिजर्व क्या है? सेम थिंग लाइक स्टॉक, बट आपको कैसे भी वो रिसोर्स को यूटिलाइज करना ही है, बिकॉज यू डू नॉट हैव एनी ऑप्शन. पर आपके पास टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है. जो भी टेक्नोलॉजी है दैट इज़ नॉट द अप्रोप्रिएट टेक्नोलॉजी, बट स्टिल जो भी टेक्नोलॉजी है वही इन अप्रोप्रिएट टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ जब आप उसको यूज़ करना चाहते हो दैट बिकम्स अ रिजर्व. ओके, लेकिन व्हाट इज़ द प्रॉब्लम? इफ़ यू यूज़ अ इन अप्रोप्रिएट टेक्नोलॉजी देयर विल बी अ वेस्टेज ऑफ द रिसोर्स. पर क्या करें, हमें ज़रूरत है, हमारे पास ऑप्शन ही नहीं है. So now I know this particular part is little confusing for the students, so I am again telling this 4. The first one is actual resource or the developed resource. The resources which are already in use, the resources which are utilized by human beings with the technology known to them, they are called as the actual or developed resource. Second category, the potential resources are the resources which have the potentiality to fulfill the needs of human beings, but human beings have not started using them, but human beings may start using them in the near future. Their quantity and quality, everything is known to human beings. Even the technology is also available with the humans, but they have not started. In the near future they will start using them when there is a need to them. Third one, stock. Resources are available in the nature, ready to serve the need of human beings, but human beings do not have the appropriate technology to utilize them. Okay. Reserve. Resources are available, ready to be used by human beings. Human beings want to use them. They also want to be used by humans, but human beings don't have the technology to use them. Still, आज द ह्यूमन्स नीड देम वेरी बैडली. कुछ भी टेक्नोलॉजी है उनके पास, जो भी टेक्नोलॉजी है उनके पास, उसके साथ वो उसको यूटिलाइज करना चाहते हैं. वेस्टेज हो, कुछ भी हो, हमें चाहिए. वी डोंट हैव एनी ऑप्शन, सो वी विल यूटिलाइज इट. दैट इज़ कॉल्ड एज योर व्हाट? That is called as your reserve. So that's all about